I came across an article from The Athletic which talked about what NFL execs had to say about every other team's offseason. And I thought you might be interested in what they had to say about your Broncos. So we're going to unpack that on today's show. It's got a lot of good, juicy kind of quotes and tidbits to it, so a lot to get to. But as always, I do want to get the audience involved. It's Chat Sports, not PD Sports. So shout out your city for me in the chat. We've grown a ton as a channel, and I just want to know where all of our beautiful viewers are watching. So shout out your city if you have not already in the comment section. Now, let us look at what some NFL execs had to say about the Broncos offseason. Quick reminder what they did. Some notable moves. They added Evan Engram, Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga. Not many tough departures. Backup Zach Wilson. Now backup for the Cowboys, Javonte Williams. Is Rico Dowdle still unsigned? No, I think he's signed somewhere. Cody Barton, Carolina. Okay, so maybe starter for Javonte. But I think we'd all agree Denver improved versus regressed based on the additions and the subtractions. In fact, I'd argue some of those subtractions were really additions by subtraction. So, in my opinion, Denver improved in free agency. But today's video is not really about my opinion. It's the NFL exec's opinion. And it's always fun to hear what some of the people working high up in the league have to say about other teams. So, we're going to look at that. Let's start by talking about an Evan Engram signing. So, he comes over after half a year in Jacksonville due to injuries, where he only put up 365 yards and 1 touchdown. But prior to that, the former first-round pick by the Giants put together some really good years in Duval, and it has caught the attention of one anonymous NFL exec who said this about Engram: they are really good players when healthy. I'll bet you Evan Engram catches at least 75 balls next year. He will have a big year because he can run and catch. Sean will make him the focal point of their offense on third downs. I don't know about you guys, but anytime I kind of read stuff like that, I go, that's going to fire me up a little bit, because it's always good to get confirmation from an outside source about something you already thought was good, and now it just got even better when you read that. By far, this is the biggest positional improvement the Broncos made, because the tight end bar from last year was historically low. They were just out there for cardio. Immediately Engram, of course, slots in at tight end 1, and we'll see who else even makes the roster because of the way this room disappointed in 2024. I'm not just trying to be mean or pick on them, but the numbers speak for themselves. Adam Trautman led the bunch with 188 yards. It's almost a miracle they even got to 5 touchdowns based on the way that unit started the season. And Bo Nix, I think, as a quarterback, he's not one who's constantly looking to just fling it down the sideline. That's more like a Michael Penix type of quarterback. He wants to kind of keep it a little bit closer to him. And that's where a tight end's supposed to be your best friend. So this is really going to take Bo Nix, I think, to another level. Now, who do you believe is going to have more touchdowns in 2025? Evan Engram, who, by the way, is wearing number 1, or Courtland Sutton? Let me know in the comment section below. Sutton comes off an 8-touchdown campaign. Let's see what Engram can do this year. Here's another quote from an NFL exec. All of this coming from an article in The Athletic. Sean is getting some of the guys that fit what he has had in the past. Does he go with the running back in the draft? So the answer to me is yes, right? They're not going to trot out Jaleel McLaughlin, Audric Estime, and Tyler Bidet as their top 3 backs. They have not taken a running back off the streets in free agency yet. And to me, that's almost more evidence of what they plan to do in the draft. Because only an idiot would look at that room and think, yeah, it's all hunky-dory, good to go, send her on its way. No. It's Sean Payton. He's not an idiot. So they are going to go with the running back in the first 2 rounds of the draft. I bet on it with you. And who that could be, there's really 2 names that have my attention right now. In round 1, there's been a lot of buzz around UNC's Omarion Hampton as a potential running back target. In round 2, we can look at their stats as well. You've got Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. I think Johnson's going to be a phenomenal back at the next level. He's my RB2. Hampton's just behind him, and honestly, you put enough Hampton highlights in front of me, and I could flip-flop them that easily, but I think there is a lot to like between these 2 players. Now, there's a very real possibility that Hampton goes earlier in round 1 to like the Cowboys, and Johnson goes early in round 2 to a team like the Bears or the Browns, something like that. And if that happens, well, now Denver picking more in the middle of round 2 has to kind of move to plan D or E. And I've got 3 suggestions. So, Sean, George, I know you're watching. Write it down so you don't forget. Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee. He had 19, 20 touchdowns for the Vols a year ago. He was a finesse back at the goal line, 11 scores within 5 yards. But he also is not, you probably think, oh, he scored a bunch of goal line touchdowns. That means he's just like a bowling ball. No, he's got great long speed. He's elusive. He can make cuts on a dime. There's a lot to like for Sampson. I just feel that he's going into the draft at the wrong year because of how loaded this running back draft class is. Then you got Quinshawn Judkins and Travion Henderson from Ohio State. 2 excellent backs who bring a lot of like thunder and lightning combo together. And they're probably going to fall a little bit in the draft because the stats don't pop out a ton since they were in a split backfield. But I think that kind of paves the way for one of them having like an Alvin Kamara career arc. Remember, he was a 3rd-round pick to New Orleans with Sean Payton. And when he blossomed in New Orleans, everyone wondered, how did we not see this coming? Well, as a Tennessee fan and someone who was in Knoxville for Kamara's final season, I can tell you how. He was in a committee backfield with Jalen Hurd, who eventually, flamed out of the league after a brief time in San Francisco. And here are Henderson and Judkins, who were in a committee backfield. So there's a very real possibility that they get to the league, they put together monster numbers, and everyone's left wondering, how did we miss this? Well, it's because you just evaluate running backs because of their stats. And you can't evaluate college players purely based on production, right? There's so much that goes into it. What if you're a really good running back behind a horrible offensive line? What if you're a really good running back in a West Coast like air raid offense? You don't get the opportunities then. You don't get the touchdowns. You don't get the highlights. You don't get the buzz. And you fall a little bit. And it requires teams to do a little bit extra digging on you to realize, oh, you are good. So all 3 of those options right there, I think, are great options as well. Okay, we're going to look at the other quote in just a moment. But first things first, I do have to give a big special shout out to our friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia. The app is really easy to use. All you do is create a lineup and then select more or less. So if you're looking for a fun way to pay for date night, for example, you throw on a Nuggets game, an Avs game, you pick more or less, and you go 2 for 3, 3 for 3, 3 for 4, whatever it might be, and all of a sudden dinner's paid for thanks to PrizePicks. That's the way I always looked at it. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. All of that information is in the comments and description of today's video. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. Moving on. We got one more quote from NFL Exec, and I think I saved the best for last because this is I'm about to be the Kool-Aid man and run through a brick wall right here. Mike Sando had this. This is from The Athletic. Greenlaw fills the Jonathan Vilma role as quarterback of the defense. Hufanga becomes his Malcolm Jenkins. Engram becomes a version of Jimmy Graham. Incumbent receiver Cortland Sutton resembles Marquise Colston in some ways. Comparing quarterback Bo Nix to Drew Brees is unfair, but both are extensions of Peyton. Yeah, I think we'd all sign up for something like that, right? Where you can get that type of player from these recent signings. Greenlaw is arguably pound for pound my favorite one when you look at what they're paying him, how desperate the Niners were to retain him, flying to Dallas to his home and meeting him before free agency, trying to sway him back to return to San Francisco. him sticking with the Broncos, which shows a ton of faith and belief in the direction Denver is headed right now. Yeah, I'm Kool-Aid man. I'm running through a wall right there. Now, one of the comps that he made that really jumped out to me was the Jonathan Vilma one. A little background on Vilma. 2004 first-round pick out of Miami, played for the Jets, goes over to the Saints, plays there for an extended period of time, right? 6 seasons. He made a couple of Pro Bowls under Sean Payton. And when you look at this linebacker room, and really just not even linebacker room, let's say run-stopping room. How about that? Run-stopping unit. And you go back to everyone's last full healthy season, Greenlaw and Singleton, that would be in 2023. Jones and Roach would be in 2024. Yeah, I think that's a unit right there that can stuff the run, which became an issue down the stretch in 2024. I don't know if the job is complete 100%, but got a whole lot better when you get Singleton back from injury and you add Dre Greenlaw. Sure, you're rolling the dice on Greenlaw and Singleton to come back 100% or 95%, but I think that's worth the risk for the ceiling and the upside those two players have right there. To wrap up today's episode, how many wins for the 2025 Broncos? I've got my number in mind. I'll count down from 5, see if you and I say the same number. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 10. I'm going to go with 10. It's not a slight against Denver. I think it's more of a reflection of the NFL is tough. And the Broncos finishing third in the division will not give them too tough of a schedule. I mean, the opponent's already out, but I'm going to go with 10-7 again. And I know people are going to look at me and go, boo, you're being a hater. I mean, last year I picked them to go 9-8, finished 10-7, so not too far off. I'll go with 10 wins for the Broncos this year. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Do me a big favor before you leave. Like the video and subscribe if you have not already. And I'll see everyone later.